level, you can tell him I said it. Level up. God level, you can tell him I said it. Level up, level up, level up. Go. Everything that means.
Technical difficulties.
He is not getting ready to start that shit.
Mercury retrograde.
We on though, baby.
Shadow period though. This is the 2 weeks post shadow. 2 weeks.
They're letting us know what's to come.
Oh my God. This is no. We gonna keep it rolling.
We are live. We are live. We are live.
Hey y'all. Hey.
Delay. Lord have mercy. All right, this is things that people don't want to talk about. Brought to you by God Level. I am a mother. I'm a nurse. I'm an entrepreneur. I have this podcast. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. I'm an aunt. I'm a GG. I am everything good. John, you want to go ahead and represent yourself? Thanks for the likes already, y'all. Come on with it.
John Skywalker, the Sly Talker here. I'm a lyricist, spoken word artist. I'm a martial artist, personal trainer, lover of life, student of psychology, and I'm a father who has 5 hip-hop albums available on all major streaming platforms now. Look for John Skywalker. Just look for John Skywalker. Plug in. Salute.
Salute. King Newborn, you want to go ahead and represent yourself?
Peace, peace, peace. This is King Newborn. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Newborn Everything. And as always, I am.
Okay. Ivy Tanner, you want to go ahead and represent yourself?
First of all, the girl got my name right, y'all. Clap it up, clap it. What up, y'all? Hey, it's your girl Ivy Tanner, also known as Inattentive Ivy on TikTok. You can follow me on all platforms. Y'all know I love to talk about ADHD, mental health. I'm a mom, I'm a sister, I'm a former broadcast journalist. I talk about all these hamsters because I got about 28 of these mugs right now. You know what I'm saying? Run up in my head with my ADHD, representing. And as always, I'm here to keep it a buck. Let's go.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I just need to say something. These hamsters is growing. They humping really good over there.
Girl, like they just multiply. You know they make.
First it was 9, then it was 10, 12. I got 15. Now it's 28 hamsters.
Listen,
oh my God.
He said 28. I'm like, I'm lending them out, John Gotti. You want one? He coming to your door. There we go.
Oh my God.
I fostered a couple of them because I know I got some hamsters over here. I've been fostering these hamsters since I met her. I didn't even ask for them. I'm like, why do they keep coming over here?
They show up.
I guess they just must already know. I
right.
Know as much power as I can get. Oh, and as we go into this, I am AP, and I
thank you. I didn't even get a chance. AP, you want to go ahead and represent yourself?
Yeah, I am AP. I'm here representing Sisters Empowerment House. I'm a pharmacy technician of 20 years. I am a advocate in the community. I am starting to become a part of my community and start helping out and assisting in different ways, teaching social skills and so on. And I am happy to be here. And let's talk about this ego thing.
Ooh, Jacob just made a post. I'm not trying to be funny. John, can you repost that? The ego is an illusion invented by thought. The ego prevents true love. I'm not trying to be funny when I say this. Mr. Jacob, if you have time, can you please call in? I would love to talk to you.
He coming in hot. He is coming in hot.
He came in swinging. Yes, he came in swinging. Please don't forget to like and share this podcast. What's our first question, John?
So let's go ahead and just figure out. Let's just go ahead and figure out what we're actually dealing with in your own words.
Define ego. I just did earlier today while on the phone with a friend of mine. Talking about ego is a person who doesn't want to or accept maybe help from others. inflated ego, like, no, I got it, a know-it-all.
Hmm.
It's
All
gonna
right,
be
this one
different.
take.
It's gonna be different for
Okay.
everybody.
Ego is a construct.
Mm.
Ego is
Ego is a
an
construct. You said what? What did you say? Say
Is
it
it
again.
ego or too much ego that keeps you from love?
We gonna
Thank
get
you,
there. We gonna
Sean.
get there. We
Woo.
gonna get there, Sean.
Sean,
We
you
gonna
see the
get
number
there.
posted 832-479-9035. Go ahead and hit that line. We want to hear from y'all tonight.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That is so true. But ego is a construct. Listen, woo! Ego is who you have told yourself that you are, and
Say
it
that.
keeps yourself from who you really are, right? Because the ego is your self-imposed self, who you show to the world, and your true self is who you really are, right? Man, listen, it is taking a while to suss that one out. I'm gonna leave it alone though. Well, look at the comments; they are going.
Yeah,
I know. Hello, Richard West.
ego becomes an obstacle when you don't show your true self, when you hide your true self from other people. It becomes an obstacle in your relationships. It becomes an obstacle in your work environment. It becomes an obstacle in so many things and aspects of your life because you are not showing your true self. And if you don't live your truth, then you'll never be happy.
Oh, he said my number.
Mm.
You didn't have to give us your number. You can call. This is yeah. Don't post that. Go ahead and
Jaja
hide
coming in
that.
hot too.
Oh my
Look.
God! It's all perspective. Because on one hand, you have an ego being one sense of self-esteem or self-importance, and on the other hand, an inflated feeling of pride in your superiority to others.
Ooh, let's take a pen and pride. Let's stick a pen in pride. You know what?
Where's your paper at? Bar. Sorry.
Take my papers. Hold on. I'll be right back. Hold on.
All right,
If y'all
Aaron,
don't-
what's your take?
Ego. Just what I said. The ego is something that gets in our way. Ego becomes
Sean
it becomes
disagrees with you. I think a bit
pride
of
is
an
necessary
ego.
to push you forward.
Mm-hmm.
But too much pride, or just like too much of anything,
Too much. Then it
can be
becomes
unhealthy.
mental. Oh, absolutely.
It can
Too much
definitely be
pride. Yeah.
unhealthy.
Where's the balancing act?
Mm.
We go. But I already know that John he's got that somewhere.
Yep.
I know he's got that somewhere.
We're gonna go. We're gonna go to brother over here.
Yep, because I was about to say because we haven't heard him clear his voice yet.
What?
Peace.
God, I thought that was him.
Damn. Okay.
I sure did.
Well, good evening, all. Good evening. Peace,
Let's go,
family.
baby.
Peace, family. I want to say first and foremost, I like the interaction out the gate that we getting from everybody. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's love. That's love. Thank you.
I'm not
Sorry,
gonna
Jacob.
call out every individual, but I just want to say we really do appreciate each and every one of you, king and queen, that's chiming in, and you pretty much give us the motivation to keep moving forward, so we can continue to give back to our community. Another thing I want to add, without ego, it's an honor to say again, God level, we really are making a change. We're having open communication and not necessarily having a debate where we're challenging each and every one's perspective. We're actually pulling as a collective to help us have a somewhat of a recipe how to continue to be adults in society. So I just want to put that out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I just wanted to say that. Ego, self-esteem, having a high level of self-esteem.
Okay.
I love you, John.
Where's my hamster sound? Where's my hamsters? Because a hamster done went over.
All right. So yeah, I love you too. I'm like,
oh my God. Thank you, Jacob,
All right,
for that comment. Go ahead.
So I like the direction we're going in. I'm hearing it's a construct. We have a commenter say it's an illusion. All right, and then we're trying to differentiate here with the comment about the true self. So I want us all to imagine we're in a virtual space right now, right? And we're interacting in this virtual space. There's a profile here, there's a profile there, there's a profile there, there's a profile there. Ego, 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 ego. Ego is the interface that allows us to have this experience right here. Reality. Dealing with reality, it's your ego. That's your ego. Your ego is the avatar that interacts with this whole thing. Your body is part of your ego. There's different layers of ego, right? So we're talking about this construct, an invention, a fiction, right? John is an ego. I created John. John's been in creation since birth, right? But there is, as Jake said, there's a true self, there's a higher self. So when we're dealing with ego, it's not bad or good. It's just an instrument. It's just a tool, just like your avatar, just like your profile, right? It's the self, it's the I, right? That deals with reality and it operates within the reality principle. So, you know, we've talked about briefly too much ego, too much. All of those are components and elements of the ego. You got to have a little pride. What? This appearance? That's pride. It's okay to have pride, but it becomes arrogance, right? So, and then you can have insufficient amounts of pride, right? And that has its own condition, right? Ego can be inflated, it can shrink, it's malleable, it changes, it's not just one thing, right? But it's ultimately, it has several functions with it, right? And then we're not going to touch too much into the psychology, but this came from Freud. If anybody is kind of a psychology head, you know, the concept dwells in the psychoanalytic theory, and it's from Sigmund Freud.
Oh.
Over time.
Oh no.
Right. Okay. And then when we're talking about some of these functions, when you're solving problems, your decision making, all of that is through your ego.
Right now.
Oh, we already got one.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm posting. I'm watching live.
I'm sorry.
Turn it up.
I did. I'm sorry. Can you speak up, love?
You want me to speak up louder?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm trying to. I'm talking right into the mic. I don't know.
Okay. Can you all hear her? A little so. What's your name again?
My name is Jacob.
Oh, Jacob. Yes. Oh my God, Jacob. Be careful what you call the true self. It's merely one of the fragments of I, the me, the self, the mind, the will, the perceiver, the listener, the experiencer, the chooser. That was, Mr. Jacob, that was pretty deep.
Yeah, it's got me understand that you have to go within. You can't listen to other people. You have to find out for yourself. You have to stand alone. You must reject. You must put aside what others have said. And you have to find out by going within. Through self-awareness, you gain understanding of what the self is. This is the key. Because any understanding of the self, that will bring silence.
One second. Can you turn us down in the background because it's conflicting with you right now? Because I want to hear you well. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So what I was saying is the beginning, starting, because people want to know how to begin. The beginning is the ending. The ending is the beginning. So it's one movement. It's not a process. It's not something that takes time. It has nothing to do with time. Time is an illusion. Time is what's preventing the soul from manifesting, the spirit. The soul and the spirit, we've been taught by religion that the soul and the spirit is something separate from the brain body everything. The brain body is sacred. It is a part of nature. It is a part of the oneness. It is the one, not part of it. It contains, you're not a drop in the ocean. You're the whole ocean in the drop.
Woo!
All is one, and there is no division. Division is an illusion invented by the eye. The eye is the thing that creates separation. When you go into a room full of people, of strangers that you don't know, do you feel affection, care, love that you have for your dearly beloved mother, brother, sister, child, best friend, lover? No. So the question is, why not? Because you have a sense of self. And that self is that sense of division and separation, the me and the not me, which breeds constant violence and suffering. So the key is in the understanding of the I, not a rejection of it, not a putting away of it, because who's the one that's putting it away? It's still another fragment of the me. The me is trying to get rid of the me. The ego is trying to get rid of the ego. It's like a dog running around in a circle, trying to chase its tail, trying to catch it. It can't. So when you see the truth of this, there's a full stopping. And in that stopping, there's silence and there's stillness. Even if it lasts for 1 minute, that's all that's necessary to see the truth. And when you see the truth sets you free. It's not an act of will. It comes from silence and stillness and understand, which brings clarity, lucidity. And in the seeing of the truth, you are set free. And the brain body wakes up. See, right now, you have to ask yourself, am I awake or am I dreaming? When I look at my children, do I see them as they actually are? Or do I see my image of them projected from myself?
Wow.
So myself is an image that thought invented, and that image makes another image of you. That image of you is not you. My image of myself is not me. It's not, I guess, what we would call the true self. But you have to be careful here, because the self is very clever. It's broken up into fragments. And one of the fragments takes a superior position over the other fragment. And it says, I'm not like them. I'm going to chain them. I'm going to control them. I'm going to manage them. It calls it the ego, the shadow side. That's all an illusion. It's all made up. It's all thought. And thought is the response of memory. And memory is the past. It's not what's happening now. Something is happening now. But you're living in the past, interpreting everything in the present from the past. So you're not living in the present. You're never present. You're never listening. You're interpreting. You're comparing. You're analyzing. You're evaluating. But you're never present. You're never listening. And it's because of that there is conflict, violence, and suffering in the world. So when you wake up, you realize that you are the peace. At that moment, see, what happens is when we were born, we inherited a brain. An ancient brain, an old brain, which has evolved for hundreds of thousands of years, and it's collected hundreds of thousands of years of memory. From that memory, thought made an image of the self. And that self then invented an image of God and worships that image. That image of God is a projection of yourself. So the self is worshiping the self. You see the futility, the absurdity of that. So when you see all this, and the seeing can only take place in freedom, the brain must be in a moment, even if it lasts for a minute, of total freedom from the past, from the known, what others have said. And in that silence and in that stillness, there's a seeing of truth. And it is truth that sets you free. You realize you are the truth. You are the light of the world. You were born that way. But you think you have this identity that you're identifying with this image, and you think that's you. That image is limited. It's based on limited memories. All your experiences, all your beliefs, your ideas, your concepts are coming from that limitation, which is the past. All your memories have been formed by previous memories, have been shaped and colored. So when you see this, there's an immediate waking up and a return to your natural state. The divine state. That is who you are. You are divine. You are the sacred. The sacred is not something outside of you to find and seek out and to try to connect to. You are that already, but you're hallucinating. You're delusional. You believe in a thing called me. So, I don't know
Where's the mic? Where's the mic?
Within the act of listening itself, it will happen. It will happen effortlessly, choicelessly, without time. It will be faster than the speed of light, and you will awaken. It has nothing to do with time.
Speechless.
I'm gonna have to watch this again just to
hear what he said. Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch this whole part just to hear exactly what you left us all speechless.
I know there's a lot there, but it's actually, I want to emphasize that it's actually very simple. The children are ready to be set free from the earliest age. This is not complicated. Thought makes everything complicated. Thought has a place in mathematics, in function, how to build the tree, how to build the bridge, how to grow crops. But we need thought for that. But in the area of love, peace, joy, creativity, thought cannot enter. Thought blocks, prevents creativity. Well, no, thought comes later. First there's creativity, and then thought can put it into practical, manifestation. It can make a painting, a poem, a song. But the song is an expression of that sacredness. So first there must be the sacred. First there must be the divine connection to all beings. Then from that place, you can use thought to put it into words, like I'm doing now, or to write a poem or write a book or whatever. But the expression, in other words, the expression of love is not love itself. Love is a state of presence, of total being, connection, communication with the animals, the insects, the birds, the clouds, 24/7. And this is the other thing about it. It's not temporary. It's not something that just happens occasionally every now and then. It's 24/7. When you go to work, when you go to school, when you're raising your family, it's happening. And it's happening effortlessly, choicelessly. It has nothing to do with choice. The choice is coming from the chooser. The chooser is the me. The me is the past, the program. So your brain has been conditioned and programmed. So you think, oh, I'm Catholic, I'm an American, I'm German, I'm a this, I'm a that. No, you're not. All those things are limitations to who you are. You are the infinite, but you don't think that. You're trying to get to the infinite. You're trying to connect to the infinite, but you're already there. So see the absurdity of it. See the futility. All this movement is denial of your true self. So, but again, be careful with this true self thing, because, see, there's the belief that in us, deep down, we just have to strip away, and then eventually we'll get to the true self. But actually, see, if I were to tell you, now this is going to be hard to hear, but if I were to tell you, you have never lived love, you've never been creative, maybe for a second, maybe for a moment, yes. But in terms of, see, love means 24/7. For example, love is infinite. You can't say I love my children, but I don't love those people over there. If you don't love those people over there, you don't even love your children. Love is all or nothing. You cannot love partially. You cannot say I love these people, but those people not so much. So what if I were to tell you, you've never lived that love, the true love, not the fake love, the limited love, the finite love. So would you reject it? Would you dismiss it? Or try to justify it and explain it away? Or would you investigate, explore through self-awareness? Wait a minute, this guy says that there's this thing called true love, and that I've never lived it. I think I live love. I love my family, I love my friend, this, that, the other thing, right? So we believe that we're creative, like if we're an artist, we're creative, right? But are we creative? So to question, to investigate, to explore, and the only way to do this is by going within. No one can help you. You must stand alone. No book, no teacher, no guru, nobody. You must put aside all of that and journey alone within and find out directly for yourself, who am I? Who is this thing called I? I ask these 4 questions. 1, where did the I come from? What was the origin of the I? What gave birth to the I? The self, the me, the mind, the psyche, the consciousness, right? That's the first question. Second question I asked was, what is it made of? What is the material it's made of, right? Third question, What is it doing to relationships? When I look at my children, do I see my children? Or do I see my image of my children, which is a projection of myself? And then the fourth question is, what is it doing to perception? So through these questions, I found out the nature, the structure, the movement of the I, the me, the self. And without condemning it, you get it? So the key is not to condemn it or justify it, right? As we always do, as what thought always does, and neither to have a desire to change it, which means what? It means you're really paying attention. And in that attention, learning is taking place. You're learning about the I. What is this I? And in the end, you find out that there is no I. It's all made up. Thought made it up. We tend to think that thought is coming from the thinker, and the thinker came first. No, the thinker is the invention of the thoughts. The thinker and the thoughts are the same. They're one and the same. They're not divided. They're not separate. So when I see all this, and when I see the nature of thought, that thought is limited. Thought is based on knowledge. All your experiences are limited, right? So everything you do, every thought, ask yourself, where's my thoughts coming from? Are they coming from the limitation, which then leads to limited action, which then contributes to the conflict, violence, and suffering of the world, inevitably, because it's limited? Or is it coming from a brain that is totally free of the limitation? You get it? Which is the me.
Right.
Which then means the infinity is happening. The infinite, the sacred, is moving. The divinity is happening. So it's not me doing it. You get it? In other words, the brain body becomes an instrument played by the oneness of the universe and beyond the universe, which is beyond time and space, to the ground of all being, right?
Right.
We are the movement of that. We, just as nature is in perfect order, and we also are in perfect order. But because the moment in our evolution, thought invented the thinker, it pushed us out, not literally pushed us out, but psychologically, meaning we began to hallucinate, we began to have delusions of a separate self. And that's what caused all the misery in the world, the fear, the anxiety, the guilt, the shame, the sorrow, the envy, the greed, the jealousy is all coming from that feeling of separateness, of disconnection, of isolation, of loneliness. You get it? So the starting point, not to lose you, the starting point is self-awareness. Begin
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank
Thank you.
you for
That was
calling in.
amazing.
I'm sorry, let me unmute my lady. Okay, you there? Okay.
Sorry for talking so much.
No, you were fine. I want to thank you, Jacob.
Feel free to ask anything. I know I said a lot. Normally I do this within a 90-minute, like we have a dialogue.
Okay.
And it's a free-flowing thing. So it's not me just talking. It's a free flow where anybody can just jump in at any point and say, well, wait, what did you mean by that? And wait, that part is not clear. I get this part, but I don't get that. And it usually takes around 90 minutes.
Ooh.
And in that 90 minutes, there's awareness happening. You're becoming aware for the very first time of the nature, structure, and movement of the me, and what it's doing to relationships, and what is it doing to perception. So, yeah, anyway. I gave it to you all like
you did
in one movement.
You did.
You gave us a lot. That was a lot of gold nuggets.
You really did. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Jacob?
I was just looking for a mic to drop it.
I mean,
that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
I have plenty. What's the role of the observer? We talked about the thinker. What about the observer?
The observer is the me. The observer, the experiencer, the chooser is the me. So these are just different words for the same bundle of memory. What is the me? The me is a bundle of memory. It's the past. It's your beliefs, your culture, your ethnicity, your race, your nationality, all those identifications, which is the memory, is you, is the observer. The observer is the observed. What you observe is yourself. When you see something, you're seeing a projection of yourself. Now, that's as long as you're a slave to your conditioning. But once you wake up to your natural state, then you see things as they actually are. And then all action is coming from this purity, this clarity of vision, this wholeness, this holistic way of looking and being in connection with all beings. And I'm including the birds, the clouds, the insects, and the trees, which are all living. We're all one. There's no division. But again, you can agree to that intellectually, but that won't do any good. It's just another idea. It's just another belief, which becomes part of memory, becomes part of the bundle of the identity of the me. The me that says I am nothing, the me that says all is one, is still the me. You get it? So what we're talking about is the freedom from the illusion that there is a me. Like you're convinced right now, right? That there is a me. I have a me. I have a personality. I have a this. I have a that, right? You're convinced of that. And your actions are coming from that place based on your experiences, your culture, all of that, right? So is it coming from that place, or is it coming from the place of emptiness, nothingness, which is the highest form of intelligence? We tend to fear death. Death is the ending of everything. But there's a death before the death of the body. As Rumi said, die before you die and live. You see, you have to ask yourself, am I existing or am I alive? You get it? So we can think that we're alive, but because we don't know the other. We don't know what life is like with total freedom. We don't know total freedom. Total clarity? What is that? Right? So we live in the realm of the dream world, which is limited. And that's the place we live and act from. And that is creating such misery, such chaos, such disorder in the world that we have seen throughout history, thousands and thousands of years. Humans have been repeating the same mistake over and over again.
Memory.
So the time is now to wake up.
There you go.
Realize there is no self. But again, that cannot be just said. Like I cannot just come to you and say there is no self. And then you come and look at it and say, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. I mean, that makes sense or whatever. That's an intellectual thing. That's very superficial. That will not liberate you. So it has to be felt at a visceral level, at a body level. Your bones have to get it. You get it? Your blood has to get it. Your DNA has to get it. Not just simply the mind, the brain. The brain is just the activity, thought, thinking. It's simply part of the whole being. So what we're talking about is seeing the truth with your whole being, not merely intellectually, which is very superficial.
Oh my God. Does anybody have any more questions for Mr. Jacob? Because he's just over here dropping.
I could do this for a few more hours, but we're gonna pinch it because I got more. Yeah. But.
Okay. Mr. Jacob, I want to thank you.
I'm very low energy. I have cancer, and I did my chemo today, so it's really wreaking havoc right now. I'm very low energy, so please forgive me.
No, you're fine.
Sending healing energy to Mr. Jacob.
Man, we are sending healing energy to you. And I want to thank you for calling in and giving us this piece of your piece, because you found it. You literally found it.
No one can light your candle. No one can give you peace or love or do anything. You have to find out for yourself alone, without any help, without any book, without any teacher. This is essential. There's no other way. And it doesn't take time. You see, an analogy I give is like, imagine, like, let's say I ask you, have you ever jumped out of an airplane and, with a parachute and experienced what that's like? And you might say no. So I'll say, okay, here's the plane. It's ready to go. So it'll take time, right, to get in the plane and to get up to the altitude, right?
Yes.
And then it takes time for you to go towards the door of the plane. But does it really take time to jump? And so what we're talking about is 90 minutes or so. It could be an hour, it could be a half an hour, it could be, it depends on the person, how long it takes to get to that place where you can jump. You get it? The jumping has nothing to do with time. It's not a process. It's not an evolution that you say, oh, okay, I'm learning gradually. No, that's what's blocking you from waking up. It's a postponement, a procrastination. You're already there. And you're denying it by saying it takes time. You get it? Thought has fooled you. The thinker, which is a bundle of thoughts, has fooled you. And you listen to what others have said, right? Instead of finding out for yourself directly. So you're confused. So you have to put away all what others have said and go within and find out for yourself. That's what I did. I'm just sharing what I did. And it took me a long time because I did what most people do. I was looking outside.
Yes.
For the answer for God, for, a book. Where's the answer in archaeology? Is it here? Is it there? Maybe the ancients knew something about it. Let me find out. So it was an outward looking. And finally, I saw the futility of that. I saw this is not working, right? All these years. I started when I was 18 years old. And all these years I went. It was a waste. And then finally they said, yeah, it was a voice, not a physical voice, but an inner voice that said, go within. You haven't done that. And that's what I did. And that's what made me get to that place. Now, for me, it took 7 years. Because I had no one to really, kind of give me a little bit of guidance and advice, little tidbits, hey, pointing out like, hey, look at that, So it took me time. So it wasn't until 2005 that this thing happened, where I woke up, I snapped out of it and realized there was no me. And then I began telling people, hey, there's no me. But that's not it. They're not going to get that. No one's going to get that because you've been programmed to believe that there is a me and I cannot live without it. I mean, your worst fear, the root of all your fears is the root of losing your mind, right? Think about it. You don't want to die. You fear death. Death means the ending of everything. So, and then thought doesn't like that. The thinker says, no, I don't like that idea. So it invents the afterlife. You get it? Heaven, hell, reincarnation.
Yes.
You get it? Because it doesn't want to die. The organism gains solace from the idea, even if it's an illusion, that there's an afterlife, that there's a continuation. So I look forward to that, and I'm never present. I'm never paying attention in the meantime when I'm on Earth. So it's about seeing the whole movement of what the me is doing without judgment. It's very important. And without any desire to change it. That's very important. Because the one who wants to change it and the one who's judging is still the me. One of the fragments of the me condemning, justifying the other fragments. You got to see the futility, the absurdity of that, right? So when you see all that and you get to the place, this is what happened to me. I got to the place where I realized, you ready?
Yes.
I can do nothing to bring about this transmutation, this transformation, whatever you want to call it, an awakening, whatever you want to call it. And when I saw that I can do nothing, which is think about it, it is the heart of humility, right? I cannot do it. Nothing, no effort, and I can read all the books in the world, I can have all the experiences I want, still limited.
Yeah.
When you realize that, what happens? Full stop. You stop seeking, you stop going here, finding out there, and in that full stop, what happens? Silence, emptiness, stillness. And what does that bring? The brain now, even if it lasts for a minute, that's all that's necessary. Because in that minute, for the very first time, the brain body can come into contact. There's a seeing of truth. The truth is all there is. Truth is love. Love is all there is. The whole, everything else is an illusion. And we're living in an illusion. And the illusion is trying to get to the love. See the absurdity of that, right? In other words, the ending of illusion is the beginning of love, true love. You get it? The ending of the me, which is an illusion. The ending of time, which is an illusion. The me is the
ego
movement.
death.
The me that says I'm going to become a better person, become greater, higher, more loving, more kind, more creative. That's the movement of time. right? It's an
Right.
accumulative process of memory, experience, know-how, which has a place, by the way, in function, in mechanical behavior, right? I can't, if I'm a brain surgeon, I need thought. I need memory, experience, know-how, right? So thought has a place.
Right.
But when thought invented the thinker, it invented the illusion of separation. And that illusion of separation led to conflict and violence and suffering and misery and chaos.
Violence, separation.
Insight into all of it. You get it? Not because I said it, not because God said it or the sacred book said it, but because I see it. Not I see it. Hey, I take that back. There's a seeing of truth, and the truth sets you free. The brain, body, organism free. And you realize you are always there. You are perfect. In the higher sense of the word perfection. Not the perfection that thought invents. The perfection that thought invents is merely the opposite side of the coin of imperfection. And both are an illusion. So wholeness would be a better word. You realize that you're already whole. But again, you're hallucinating. Again,
Perfect, whole, and complete.
So you're hallucinating here and what's that?
He said perfect, whole, and complete.
Yes.
Yes.
That is who you are. But you're born, again, you inherited a brain that is accumulated all the memory of mankind. Do you realize your brain is a recording device? Your brain doesn't belong to you. It's not your brain. It is the human brain, which has evolved for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years. And that brain has accumulated hundreds of thousands of years of memory. The whole history of mankind is in your brain. And that history of brutality, chaos, envy, greed, all the rest, as we see it throughout the ages, violence,
war,
is due to this sense of separation. When there is no separation, there's nothing to connect to. You feel separate and you want to connect. So the me says, I'm going to go about doing XYZ methods, techniques, and practices in order to connect. You're already connected. That movement is an illusion. That movement
yes,
is
sir.
of the truth. If you are the truth, you are the way. Then at that point you can be able to say what Jesus said. I and the Father are one. When you see me, you see the Father.
Let's go.
Not from me. You get it?
I get it. Oh,
now Jesus had his flaws though. Jesus was not a perfected being, but he was close. He was very close. And maybe Buddha was that way too. I don't know. But they said things that were very on target. However, they did other things. Not they. I shouldn't include the Buddha. Jesus did things that were racist, that were divisive. Like he came for the lost house of the sheep of Israel. Heck with the non-Jews. As a matter of fact, in Revelation, it says he's going to come back to kill them, the unbelieving non-Jews, and he's going to judge them based on how they treated the Jew, Matthew chapter 25. And then when the woman came to him and said, please heal, when that person, I forgot it was a woman, I think it was a woman, that came to him, I think maybe it was a centurion, that came to him and said, please heal, and said, Jesus said, is it right to give the bread that belongs to the children, referring to the Jews, to the dogs? He's calling them dogs. Now, that was a common term. Even to today, it's a term, you can find it in Hebrew and Yiddish for the non-Jew. It's a put down because they believe that all non-Jews do not have a soul. They have a spirit, like the plants, but they don't have a soul. Only Jews have a soul. So non-Jews were created by God, according to them. I don't believe this, but according to Jesus was a practicing Jew. I mean, and in certain ways, he brought out the best of Judaism, right? He brought out the magnificent sayings of the prophets. He was in that tradition of the prophets, emphasizing behavior, how we treat one another. It's very interesting in Judaism. I don't know if you know this, but for 10 days, there's what's called, it's from the day of Yom Kippur, from the day of Rosh Hashanah, which is the New Year. There's a 10-day period from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur. So there's 10 days of that and 1 day for Yom Kippur. And the understanding of that is that the 10 days are devoted for you making good relationships with your fellow man. Now, unfortunately, Judaism doesn't include the non-Jew. Like in Christianity, where it says love your neighbor as yourself, your neighbor is not referring to the non-Jew. When Jesus brought up the Samaritan example, he was trying to point out to the Jews, he was trying to make them see that the Samaritan is also a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And it is only they that have a soul. So he was trying to include the Samaritans as children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but the non-Jews are not descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And so he wasn't referring to them. So because of this belief that the non-Jew was created to serve the Jew, and we even have it today. It's amazing. It's still going on today in Israel, this behavior, this way of thinking, which is creates misery in the world. So on the one hand, Jesus was right on target on many things if you read the New Testament, but yet he fell short because he still believed, like the Jewish belief, that there's the Jews and the non-Jews, and which is racist. So, and if Jesus were alive today, if I lived back then, I would have told him, that it's for everyone. Now, Paul came along, and he, out of his own thinking, he expanded it to the non-Jew. But Christianity was never called Christianity. It was a Jewish sect. It was a Nazarene, Ebonite, Essene sect. You can see hints of this in the New Testament where you see the use of the word saints. Well, that use of the word saints means holy ones. And guess what the word Essenes means? The Essenes were the Qumran community. Jesus was a Qumran. He lived at Qumran, was trained in Qumran, was the teacher of righteousness. I did my dissertation in this when I went to the seminary to prove this, that this was the case. He was the teacher of righteousness in his day. There are teachers of righteousness in every generation. So he was the teacher of righteousness in that generation.
Yeah. And I heard that.
By the way, he wasn't meant to die. He died because of our sins. He died because we were evil. He died because we could not receive him. You get it? The Jews could not receive. So anyway, there's so much misunderstanding in Christianity.
It is.
I was a Christian. I was a born-again Christian at 18, and so I went to seminary, studied Christianity. I bought into the whole thing of it all until I woke up and I began to read the scriptures with fresh eyes, with new eyes, with eyes that could see the truth of what was being said here. So, there are many things in the New Testament that is not written in any book. Like, for example, the marriage at Canaan was not anybody's marriage. It was the marriage of Jesus to Mary Magdalene. He was marrying Mary Magdalene. That was what that was all about when he changed the water into wine. So now you would never know that unless you were there, because the text does not bring that out. The text does not say this is Jesus' wedding. And the text doesn't say it because it's writing to people who already knew that was Jesus' wedding. I don't know if you've ever written a letter to somebody, but somebody that you know and they know you very well. You don't spell out everything because they already know that. So you don't spell it out in your letter. So in the same way, a lot of things are not spelled out. Like, for example, when Jesus gave the rock, he said, upon this rock, I will build my church. The Catholic Church says, that refers to Peter. Peter's the rock. The Protestants say, no, that refers to the statement of Peter when Peter said, you are the Son of God. And that's what it's referring to.
Mr.
What?
Jacob.
It's neither of them. It's referring to a physical rock that was thrown from heaven into the abyss at the beginning of creation of the earth. And it was two rocks, actually, not one. He gave one of the rocks to Peter, and he gave the other rocks to his brother Jacob, who became the head of the Jerusalem church. So, there's a lot of misunderstanding about Jesus, and I try to, reach the Christians to try to show them, well, like I said to you, he said a lot of good things, but he is not the example. But when he said, you are the light, he said that to his disciples. He said, you are the light of the world. Because we always tend to think, Jesus is the light of the world, we worship him, we follow him. No. He said, you It's about awakening up. That's what salvation
It
is.
is. It is about. It is about awaking up. But that is actually veering off the topic of our show, which we were dealing with ego. It's okay because you sound very passionate, and I appreciate that. We generally try to stay away from religion,
Religion.
religion because we don't want to offend anyone. But I do want to thank you for calling in
Yeah, he
tonight.
gave
And
a lot of
yeah,
insight.
you gave us a lot of insight. You dropped a lot of jewels, dropped a lot of gold nuggets. We're going to have to go back and rewatch the rest of this show, rewatch the show just to listen to what you had to say. We're sending you healing energy. I know you said that you were fighting cancer.
Also, I could say that, you see, I've done it very quickly with you guys, right? But the way it needs to be done is very slowly, bit by bit, walking together, hand in hand.
Yeah.
In other words, we begin as equals. We begin on the same level. I'm not higher than you. We are on the same level. And we're going to find out together. You get it? Together we're going to find out. Not me tell you. Share with you my beliefs, my experiences, blah, 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 which is nonsense. But together, for the very first time, I know nothing, you know nothing. Let's find out.
Okay.
What is happening?
Exactly. And that's exactly how we all should be in this world, walking hand in hand and finding out together who we are. Again, I want to thank you for calling in and sharing your comment. And dropping
Deep love and affection for one another.
Yes.
And without any desire to persuade or convince anyone of anything.
Absolutely.
It's very important. Right relationship is at the beginning. We must begin at the beginning with right relationship.
Absolutely.
We are at the same level, and we're going to find out. I'm going to find out like you. You get it?
I get
like
it.
I know nothing.
Right. Right. It's okay. We got a couple of minutes left in this show. You have been our special guest this evening.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part, you have been our special guest this evening.
Thank you so much.
Okay, go ahead.
Good night.
You guys talk on Facebook.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Peace, peace, peace.
That was a lot of information. I felt that in my spirit. Now I know Ivy did too. Bless her heart.
Bless everybody heart.
That's a nice refresher. It really is.
I just want to say, low key, it make you, not make you. It's like it's a safe place to think that you're not alone when you hear someone talk like that.
When you hear someone say that, yeah,
it's like, oh, okay, so I ain't crazy, I ain't weird.
Yeah.
It's love. That's love.
He's definitely on a whole nother level. Definitely.
Well, I just saw the next question that posted at the bottom, but it's gone. What'd you have for?
Oh, definitely.
Healthy confidence and inflated ego. It's so worthy.
And this one is important because, again, there are times where ego gets demonized. Oh, bad. Get rid of the ego. But if you understand what you're really saying in terms of get rid of the ego, it's like, which part? What? Right? So, healthy confidence, inflated ego. Is there a difference? What does it look like? And you can use examples.
My mind is completely blown right now. I'm sorry. It's just like I thought I had an idea.
I don't even know how we can even go back to what we were talking about after Jacob. How do we do that?
I don't either.
Because he go back to ego after listening to Jacob. I'm sorry. How do we do that? How do we do that? Because this man dropped some jewels.
The me is me.
I want to say the healthy confidence is when you've done the work. Inflated ego is just like he said, it's not true. But when you when you've done the work and you find the truth within yourself, that's healthy confidence. Like I know that everything that I'm trying to do is already done. That's not. I'm not in an inflated ego for me. That's just my spirituality tells me that what I want is mine. But I've been doing the work.
Right, right. Ooh, and that's what
Inflated
you
ego may
to.
be I can have anything I want.
That would be the inflated
Excessive. It's exaggerated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More of the same stuff, huh?
Is it just exaggerated, or is it also completely deflated? Because
we can do deflated or inflated, right?
Yeah, because I was going to say, because I think that shame and having an overabundance of ego can kind of be related. You know what I'm saying? Like they can be in the same vein. I'm sorry, I'm just messed up. I'm just gonna put myself on mute because.
Okay. Well,
like how
so look, all right.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, because look, I mean, it's not really too far removed. We're still in the same space. You know, we're still in the same space. That was more so about the conclusion, though, right? If you're trying to figure out what the ego is, right, you do that through awareness, all right? And the awareness is, okay, I'm just gonna sit still. I'm gonna sit still. Stillness. Because the ego's always moving, movement, illusions, movement, illusions. That's the conclusion. You're getting to the conclusion in that sense. But we're here. We're operating in this environment. We're playing the game, y'all. And so what we're trying to figure out is whether the ego is the enemy. How did it become the enemy? Who is telling it it's the enemy? Who's calling it the enemy?
Me, us, the person who we have put forward. Like, go ahead, Aaron. I'm gonna put myself on mute.
And then let me even ask, what does that mean? What does that even mean when you assigned yourself an enemy? Like you just said, oh, that's my enemy. You just made that up. And you're gonna make up a reason why, by the way, because the ego is selfish, right? It's about me. What did you do to me?
It's all in our head.
Right.
Oh my God.
What did you do to me?
I'm thinking it can become the enemy because it can destroy you, and the enemy always is the destroyer. So that is an example of an enemy.
Y'all about to be mad at me. This man said Jesus was racist.
Girl.
Let it go. That was an entertainment purpose statement.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have never heard anyone say that before in my life.
And we can also concur, most people don't take the time to really read
the Bible.
Right.
Exactly. So
yeah. You know, you often hear that it contradicts itself.
Yeah,
we'll read it, but we don't study it.
Yeah, he really said he said it with confidence. I'm not
whole chest.
So back to the ego being your enemy, you were saying who assigned it, and I'm like, because it can destroy you at times. It can destroy you mentally and emotionally, and sometimes physically. We'll just go to an example, me being the age that I am and racing the kids last week. Now I know that the age and the weight in this knee is not supposed to do that, but the ego said, don't let these kids see you punk out. So that's a small so guess what that destroyed?
Your knee.
I've been hobbling around this house since last week.
Oh my God.
Listen, can I just bring something back? Can I just bring it like a collection of memories?
He brought up the Samaritans, about the Sumerians.
Yeah, but look, I mean, like seriously, how far fetched is what he's saying? You don't think it's accurate?
It makes total
Yeah,
sense.
completely.
Yeah.
Subconscious, collective subconscious, that's a psychological term. It's been out there for a while. Like, how do you think it's so easy for us to, just do things like think about our development?
Hello.
Like that, all that's memory. It's just,
Separation.
You know how quick someone would
We're
say,
all
"Oh man,
separated.
that child been here before."
Right.
It's a memory.
yeah.
And a
It's
lot of
neurological.
things we do are based off those memories.
Yes.
That's why we have the perception that we have, because those collective memories make us think a certain way.
No, they
And
just
that's why,
like you said, DNA passed down.
Yeah.
Once you activate,
And then what you also see coming up, what you're exposed to, your experiences.
now, one thing I will say I'm a little weary of when and what Jacob was saying was about the creativity part, right? So we are still creating, right?
Right now.
But the creativity is the memory. We're taking the stuff that's already here and we're repurposing it.
yeah.
That's the creativity.
Okay.
Right?
New
But it's
package.
not pure. It's not pure in the sense of you're doing something new. It's already been done. I'm not even
There's
gonna go
nothing
there.
new under
But
the sun.
it's just reorganizing the same stuff. Okay. But the illusion part. Now, you notice Jacob was talking about the hallucination, right? Now, in the Buddhist tradition, this is not far-fetched because the belief is, or at least the idea is, when you drop the body, you're going to face yourself in another consciousness. And to truly reach enlightenment, you have to recognize that all of this is an illusion. Even the heaven, the hell that you're in that moment, you drop the body, you're in another, it's called a bardo. You're in a bardo, another state of consciousness. And you have to recognize in that moment, like the Buddha, that it's all an illusion, that it's not real, and it was all a dream. It was all a dream.
I used to read Word magazine.
Oh, sorry.
Here, this is a dream. The next, the heaven, whatever that is, that's a dream. It's all dream.
Jeff Mike, our number is posted. It is 832-479-9035. You can go ahead and call in.
So I've been studying the tenets of Buddhism, right? Especially since our last show when we talked about religion and getting into the different things, right? Oh, what did I do?
No,
go ahead.
I'm still there. I'm just, that whole sentence took me out. I'm through.
She was like, I'm no more good. I'm done. No, I was just thinking about, just like you were saying, it's like the purpose, just like of accepting what is. What is just is what is, And I know that at the end they say that you reach nirvana when you finally have gone through the idea that everything is pretty much just a construct, if I'm not mistaken, And I've been trying to apply that just to life in general. And before this show, I thought I had something to say. I was like, yeah, I realized that, being humble, and looking at, man, he messed my whole program up because I'm like, what? Everything, but remember everything all at the same time. So basically me is me. He said, like a dog trying to taste a dog's tail. Me is just me. And it just is what it is.
Infinite.
What?
You're not one drop of
There's no separation. Everything
is.
Just like when I say I am.
Again, remember now, we're all intellectualizing. Just a reminder, we're all intellectualizing.
Yeah,
okay?
that's the
all
other side.
connected.
Yeah, okay. We're intellectualizing.
That's universal law, ain't it, though? Oneness.
Yes.
I think it's like number 7 or maybe, I don't know.
Kabbalion.
But it's
all is all. Number
everything
one.
Is all in one.
And what's keeping me? Yeah, and I'm just thinking about it, like in the grand scheme of things, what's keeping me from accepting that what is just what is, and what's keeping me from realizing that we are all connected is my collection of memories, which is bullshit anyway. It is like, it's blowing my mind.
It's just tools for creation. They're just tools for creation. They are just tools.
Yeah, because you always create. It ain't negative or positive. You just create.
It just
So
is.
that's why it's like, yeah, that's like the goal is, and we can't even really call that a goal, right? But beyond this, there is the truth, right? But we are here for our own reason. We're still here for an experience, okay?
That part.
So we don't want to get too like woo out there, okay? We still gotta. All right, that's something different over here. We're dealing with ego. We're in it.
Stay here.
Ego is let's stay here with the ego. We're trying to understand the ego. It's clever ploys and tricks.
He basically said the ego don't even exist.
Well, what makes us think that it is though? Like, let's talk about it.
Our memory of collection, our collection of memories. It's like we figure out
not
even
just memory, right? Memory is a substance, right? But there's still a movement. There's still a movement of thoughts. Movement. That's the logic. The movement. That's the ordering. The organizing. It's thoughts. Thoughts are just energy. Okay, they're energy that have been given a form.
Right.
Thoughts are energy that have been given a form, but it does not really exist because it's just a form. It's energy, and it's taking up a shape, and that's not permanent.
If you want to say that, then we're just energy that's taking a form.
That's it.
Yeah,
we're getting close.
Ivy.
We're walking.
I was just gonna say you're going that way. You're going that way.
We walked.
We hear Ivy.
I mean, think about for everything that you say is a feeling or emotion. It's nothing more than a response within the body, within the nervous system, which is something that you was taught. Now you associate.
You inherited that.
Yeah,
it was given that. We were given that, and we're just doing what we can with it.
Yeah.
Hey, you got this feeling. You should do this with it. Okay.
Right.
We were taught that, and you just follow it, right? I mean, that's part of the game. You make the choice. Am I going to listen? Am I going to obey? Am I going to submit? Am I going to yield? Ego has to negotiate with the environment.
I'm messed up, y'all. I am messed up. I'm serious.
It's part of the game. It's part of the game.
Be careful with this town. You might start killing off hamsters.
We was hold on. Yeah. We was all so excited when we got started.
To only find out that we did not even fathom. We didn't realize.
I'm just saying, Miss Tanner. I'm just saying that the non-existence of what you're trying to make exist don't even exist.
Right.
Listen, my hamsters took a seat. They got some snacks.
Your hamsters. He basically told you, honey, your hamsters ain't even real.
I know, and I'm like, my hamsters is like, but we're forced into exist, and they're like, wait, are we ego? Like, for real, y'all think I'm playing? My hamsters are in here having a conversation, y'all. I promise you. Like, I'm for real.
That's because your mind just opened up, and now they don't know what to do.
Yeah,
you know now.
That's what they want for sex.
They own to us.
Jacob was the show. Thank you to our special guest Jacob for dropping in and doing the show. Literally 45-minute phone call.
I mean, but it's love though.
You dropped so much jewels.
Yeah, that was
very necessary. That was supposed to happen.
And you see how it quieted us all down, and we just like.
I know I was giving him the space to speak.
Man, he has found peace and gave us a little bit of it.
So the question is, if ego is energy or movement energy, is it all about the energy that we put into that ego?
Yeah, because again, it goes back to the question.
You're creating all over again.
Right, to make it either deflated, it depends on the energy you put into it. You can either have a deflated one. I mean,
what is your will?
What
is your purpose? What is your will?
Goes back to ego as a construct.
And it goes back to Jacob. Ego.
What are you trying to do? What do you want to do?
Right.
Ego wants to do something. It got to do something. It got to stay moving. Because if I don't move,
it goes back to your thoughts too. Because the constant movement in the thoughts is all about your thoughts. If you put the negative thoughts in there, you give negative energy to that ego. If you put the positive thoughts in there, you give the positive thoughts to that ego. So all of that goes hand in. What the heck? All of that.
But if your ego stops moving, there is no more ego.
Yeah.
Okay? If the ego stops doing, moving, and thinking, and if there's no more movement, there's no more ego. How do you stop moving?
Ego death.
Ego don't want to be quiet. Ego does not want silence. Ego wants the movement, wants to think, wants to be right, wants to cling on, attach. I can't be alone, says ego. Gotta be, gotta live, gotta exist. It's gonna preserve itself. It's gonna preserve itself.
Oh my gosh. That's going back to the whole entire idea that I've heard where you can't be a human doing, you have to be a human being, right? It's the reason why they call us human beings, because we just have to be.
Yeah, just live. Simply, just live. Most of us are in a sleep state right now.
Man, come on, bro. I'm messed up. I'm for real. I'm gonna go back on mute.
Are you alive? And if so, how do you know? What does it feel like to you? I'm serious. I just asked this question to a friend of mine, and they told me that they haven't felt alive since high school. They damn near 40.
But you can't associate a time to it.
And my alive doesn't necessarily have to look like y'all's alive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Ooh. Messed up, y'all.
I'm done.
And you gotta remember also, time is an illusion, right? So when we're talking about these memories and all these experiences, they always been here.
Yeah.
We need to be in the present of self-awareness right now, in the presence, and we're living out the past.
And that's
because every time you say present, literally, it's the past now. So back to the past. Back to the past. Back to the past.
Yeah,
it's just that simple.
So
let's say every time you experience any type of emotion, you say, "I'm gonna give myself 10 seconds to experience this emotion." But you really ain't gotta experience the emotion. What's the purpose? What are you trying to get to for real? Why do we even have to have this emotion? What are you trying to associate it with? I'm just saying, if you was listening to the way he was speaking, he was breaking this down.
Yeah.
We make everything extra hard by associating a lot of words to everything we call ourselves experiencing. We're going through, and this, complicated.
This life is about coming out of that programming. I'm now realizing that this life is about coming out of that programming. The ego is
he said something, and I was like, oh, that's the Matrix.
God, man, coming out of that. I mean, listen, Sly Talker always talks about that download. That download. What were you downloaded with? You know what I'm saying? I am now realizing at this point, Jessica, if you out there watching, listen, we've just had a therapy session. I don't know about anybody else, but for me, I've got put on game, because what I just, like, seriously, the entire time I have just been trying to come out of that ego state, but the ego state didn't exist in the first place. Right? Yep. And basically, when we talk about all of these emotions that we have and all of that stinking thinking and everything else, we are trying to consciously come out of the download, the stuff that we have been downloaded. The ego is your download. That's your avatar. That's that mask that you've had to put on to either survive, to either grow up, to either move in certain places. Let's talk about, I'm like, my mind is blown right now. Like that, like all of that is all a construct. And basically, this life is just about trying to move outside of it. Even your emotions, the stuff that has been negative. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna go on mute.
Can we associate, by her saying avatar, can we associate with the ego being part of the flesh and not the spirit? Because the more that we feed that flesh and those fleshly thoughts, the more we get this ego, the more we get. I'm trying to figure out how to put it in words, but it just feels like that the ego, for one, we've been feeding something for so long that doesn't even exist. Now think about that right there. Think about how stupid I felt when Ivy broke it down and when he broke it down, that I have been feeding something that doesn't even exist.
Man.
Yeah, but that's part of your creation, though. That's you creating.
Yeah.
It's a part of the separation that we've been talking
It's a
about.
part of the download.
Downloaded through my DNA is to do that. Because most of us, 99% of us all do that.
And this is where you don't separate. You allow yourself to understand that just is.
Whew.
But it's a past.
Right.
So what do you do from that point to move forward? Because even when you move forward, it's still the past.
Still in the past.
Because nothing is never present.
The dog chasing his tail, you never getting nowhere.
Oh my
It
God.
look good, don't it? Look at the dog. Look at the
Oh my God.
That is us all day until we sit still.
I heard somebody the other day. I heard a religious teacher somewhere, right, talking about self-worth and ego. Was saying, okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, who am I speaking with?
Yeah, this is Jacob again. I've been listening to you, and I see that you're really wanting to understand. But I want to point out that ask yourself, who's trying to figure it out? It's the me. The me is trying to figure out how to tame, control, manage, justify, get rid of the me. See the absurdity of that. See, you have to come to that point. This is the essential thing, where you realize I cannot do it. I am limited. I is the limitation placed upon the organism, the brain body, which is sacred. You're not living, right now you're in the realm of darkness, ignorance, inattention. And inattention is trying to figure out what to do about it. Fear, which is the me, is trying to figure out, what do I do about fear? See the absurdity of that. Whatever fear does, fear says, oh, let's do this, let's do yoga, let's meditate, let's pray, let's do XYZ methods, techniques. That's all magnifying the me. It's about me, me, me. I become a Buddhist monk. I take vows of celibacy. I want enlightenment. That's all the me. That's all. And the ego is merely those fragments. I mean, the ego is merely the fragment of the me that says that it thinks it's going to figure it out. No, one of the fragments says, I am the true self. So there's a division within you. There's a sense of, there's the good side and the bad side, so to speak. And the good side says, there's a good side in me, and I'm going to use that good to manage, tame, control, get rid of the bad side. And it calls the bad side the ego, the shadow side. It has many names for it. Evil, the devil, blah, blah, blah. It's just the same movement. It's the movement of the thinker, of the me, the I, the self, which is the past, which is memories. The memories are a dead thing. The memories are not what's happening now. If you knew what was happening right now, it'd be finished. You'd wake up. So how do we get to the place where we can come into contact with what is, the isness of what is happening now? Because now is everything. Now contains all time. So so how do we get there? We get there by realizing I can do nothing. And that brings silence. That's where you need to get to. So the people in the East, in Asia, they said, okay, let's develop a technique, meditation, yoga, to get to that place of silence. You get it? But that's still the me. The meditator, is trying to meditate. The meditator doesn't realize it's preventing meditation. As long as there's a me, with all its methods, techniques, structures, beliefs, ideas, that's limited. The limited is trying to make contact with the infinite. See the absurdity of that. So when you see this, you go to a full stop. You're no longer seeking, demanding, wanting, asking questions. There's silence, right? Because you realize whatever I do is contributing to the chaos. Every thought. Just consider this. Look within. Every thought you have, everything out of your mouth, all your actions in daily life, I know this is going to be hard to hear, are contributing to the chaos, the misery, the conflict of the world. And I'll give you an example. You may see a homeless person and he asks you for food. So you go and you give him food. And you think you're doing a good deed. But because you don't see the total picture, you have solved one problem. But in the solution to that problem, you create, without realizing, 100 other problems. So you're never seeing the whole picture because the me is limited. It can't see the whole picture. Thought is limited. The thinker is limited. It's based on limited memory, limited experiences, right? So when you see that, you come to a full stop. But you have to see it for yourself. You can't see it because I said it, or because the book said it, or God said it, or somebody said it. And intellectually it makes sense to you, logically it makes sense to you, and you say, yes, I accept it. No, that's not it. It has to be more than that. It has to be the total being. The DNA sees it, the truth of it. You get it? The blood, the bones, your whole being, it sees it. You get it? It's not just merely the intellect, which is very superficial. That's not going to create the awakening, the freedom from the matrix. And yet, it is the matrix. The matrix is the tricks of thought. Ma-trix. Ma-trix. Tricks of ma. Ma, mother, body.
Oh, wow.
Thought. Thought is a material process, the brain. So we are trapped in the matrix. The brain body is trapped in illusion, delusion. It's dreaming. It's hallucinating all the time, 24/7. There might be moments of a breakthrough, right? Maybe. But it's just for moments. Whereas the true awakening is 24/7. And it doesn't depend on anything outside. They can throw you in the middle of a war zone with bombs going off, and you will still be the very embodiment of love, peace, joy, happiness, ecstasy in the midst of all that. It has nothing to do with the outer. We always think we're going to change the outer, and the outer will change the inner. That doesn't work. It's been tried for thousands of years through the development of religions, societies, culture, so-called civilization, right? That doesn't work because the me is still there, and the me is creating chaos. The me will destroy whatever outward structure you create. You can create a utopia, a society, a utopian society. And the me, as long as everyone has their me's, that me will still destroy the utopia. You get it? So it must begin within. The awakening cannot be an outward movement. It must be an inward movement. Now, you mentioned movement. Yes, thought is a movement. But guess what? There's another movement. There's a movement of a brain that is free of the thinker. There's a mind with a big M, which is a universal mind, the mind of God, if you will, right? The sacred, the nothingness, the everything, right? Which can be activated. But your brain body right now is a slave to the conditioning, to the program, to the me. The me is the program. And the program is trying to figure out what to do about the program. See the absurdity of that. You get it? The program is trying to figure it out. So when you see this, and you have to see it for yourself, but by going within, it brings you to silence. And the silence creates a space, an inward space in which truth is a scene of truth. For the very first time, you see the truth. The truth is the whole. The truth is everything. You get it? You see the whole. Thought can't touch it. You get it? Thought is limited. Thought is trying to get to it by gradually accumulating knowledge, experiences, belief, all of that, right? But it's always limited. No matter how much you add to it, it's still limited. So when I see that, there's silence. The silence brings clarity. The clarity brings insight. The insight is the seeing of truth. And the truth, not you, set the brain body free. You get it? No effort upon your part, be it prayer, meditation, yoga, any other thing that thought has invented. You get it? Who's inventing all these things? Right? These methods, these techniques, to me. To me, says do this, don't do that. It's giving you instruction. And your me is then saying, I'm going to try to follow it. And because it's limited, it follows it imperfect, it doesn't follow it completely because it can't. And so it leads to more chaos, more misery. I mean, It's amazing what the me is doing to you. The me is driving your life crazy. It's preventing love, relationship from happening, the fullness, the true love from happening. So now, but what is society telling us? Society is telling us the opposite. Society is saying, no, love the me, make a better me.
Yeah.
Look at the self-improvement section. Go to any bookstore.
Everywhere.
Books. How to become better, more clever, or more cunning, or more ruthless. Me. That's all you're doing. You're creating more havoc. When you become a Buddhist monk, that's no different than the guy who's greedy for money on Wall Street. He's greedy for money and possessions. Well, the spiritual person is greedy for enlightenment. He wants to be more loving. That's greed. Greed is greed. Whether it's greed for money or greed for spiritual enlightenment, it's still greed. It's a movement of the me. So when you see all this, something happens to the brain. It stops. You get it? Stop seeking. And in that, it brings silence, which brings insight, which brings seeing the truth, which brings freedom. That is salvation. Salvation is liberation. And then when you wake up, you realize you never left. You were always there. And that all of that activity was a denial of the truth. You are the truth. You are the light of the world. You are the way. Each one of us is that. But the question is that you have to ask yourself, are you living it? You may believe it. You may think it in your mind. It's an idea. That's all it is, an abstraction in your brain, in your mind, right? And it feeds the me. Oh, yeah, me. I am nothingness. I am everything. That's still the me. So we're talking about the complete and utter ending of the illusion of the me. You see, you can't get rid of something that's not there, right? So we can't say surrender. It's about surrendering. It's about letting go, because that implies there's something to let go of.
Right.
There's nothing to let go of. You're in a desert looking at a mirage. You're trapped in the matrix. You're under a delusion. There's nothing there. Memory is the past. It's a dead thing. And you're always living from the memories. All your actions are from memories. When you see a tiger, if you ever to see a tiger or a snake, and you run because you read a book or somebody told you snakes are maybe dangerous or a tiger might eat you or whatever, and you run, you are living in fear. Fear is disconnection. It is the absence of communication with the animal. You're not communicating with the animal. The animal might want a hug, or it may want to eat you. But you must be present. You must listen first. And that takes place fast in the speed of light. It's fast in the thought. Thought is slow. Thought is like molasses compared to wisdom. Wisdom is direct connection with all beings. And then you move from that place, rather than from fear, which is living from the past, which is a dead thing. You get it? Like, let's say you hurt me last week. I make a memory of it. Now I meet you now. Ask yourself, do you meet the person with the memory that they hit you, and therefore you're living according to that? Or are you paying attention? Attention is what matters, not the memory that he hit you and he may hit you again, and therefore I must take certain actions, right? React, actually, not actions. You're always reacting. That's what the me is. It's a bundle of reactions. Yeah. Your emotions are preventing feeling. As long as you're emoting fear, anxiety, guilt, shame, envy, greed, jealousy, all of that, you're not listening. You're not paying attention. And because there's an absence of attention, you're not trying to figure it out. You can't figure it out. You're trapped in the cave. You're in the darkness. Darkness is trying to get out of darkness. It's trying to get to the light. See the absurdity of that. It's only when darkness, which is an illusion, comes to an end. When the illusion comes to an end, meaning there's nothing of substance that comes to evil, is not something that has substance. It's an absence. It's devoid of the truth. It's an illusion that thought made up, and thought is limited. Therefore, see, anything that's limited is an illusion. Truth is the whole. So ask yourself, am I living from the limitation, or is my thoughts, my thinking, coming from a brain that is totally free of limitation? You get it? Of the programming, of the conditioning. You've been conditioned like a robot. And therefore, you're full of reaction. Somebody comes along, he can press a button in you and trigger you, right? And you get emotional, right? You're a slave. You're not free. Freedom means responsibility, means attention, awareness, and action, not reaction, action. Action from what is happening now, from moment to moment, rather than from what happened an hour ago, a week ago, 10 years ago. Then you're living in the past. You're a dead thing. You're a corpse. Your brain body is carrying around a corpse. Think of it that way. You're like a zombie. You're like a robot. You're the living dead. Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead. Well, that's what we are. We're born dead. We're not born free. The baby inherits a brain that is highly programmed. It's a slave brain. That's a good word. It's a slave brain. It inherits that brain. Now, the only question is, can that brain, which is a slave to thousands of years of memory, can that brain free itself with one movement without taking time? Can it free itself from the totality of all of that memory? That's the question that I asked. Wow. So the only way to find that out is, again, by finding out what is the me. Where did it come from? What is it made of? What is it doing to relationship? What is it doing to perception? Because right now we're under a delusion. This is very important now. Listen carefully. We're under a delusion that there is a me, right? Because we've been taught it. Society has taught us that you are unique, you are special, you are a spark from God, and et cetera, et cetera. And you believe it. And additionally to that, you believe, oh my God, this is my security blanket. I cannot live without it. Right. Without it, I'm lost. I'll be like, wandering. Like, that's what we think. You get it? So we're scared stiff of losing the me. That's where the fear is coming from. We're scared stiff of losing this thing called me, I, me, self, ego, whatever you want to call it, the mind, the psyche, the consciousness. The consciousness, your consciousness, is the consciousness of all mankind. It doesn't belong to you. You inherited it. So the only question is there such a thing as total freedom? I asked this question. And then the second question I asked was, does it take time to be free of it? Those are the two questions. Is it possible? First question, is it possible for the brain to free itself, not you, someone frees you, or you take a drug or something outward, an outward agency frees you. No, you free yourself by seeing yourself. Is that possible? That's the first question. And second, must it take time? Meaning a gradual, incremental awakening, or it happens fast in the speed of light, like being hit by a lightning bolt. I get it. And it's finished. And it's temporary. You get it? Some people report, I've had that experience, but then it left me. I fell back again. I asked that question. Why? Like, for example, there are many people that have taken drugs, mushrooms, ayahuasca, et cetera, LSD. They've had moments, glimpses. I call it whips of the food. But the whip of the food is not the food. And you're satisfying yourself with the menu. The menu is not the food. You're living in the matrix. The matrix is the world of abstraction, ideas, beliefs, all of which are not what's happening. Something is happening now. And you're not flowing with the flow of it. You're not the flow. You get it? You're living the lie. All of your thoughts, your actions are from that place. So, again, this is about self-awareness. Who is what? What is the I, me, the self? This is the key, which will bring the silence, which will then bring clarity, which will then free yourself. And in that freedom, what happened? People want to know, what happened? Okay, now I'm free. Now what? Right? Don't you want to know that?
Yeah.
What happened to love? To creativity. For the very first time in your life, you may have lived to be 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. You've never been creative. You've never loved anyone. You never lived. You thought you did. You thought you did. You see, that's the matrix. See, what is an illusion? An illusion feels very true. See, there's a difference between real and true. It's very real, but it's not true. The tree is true. The tree is an actuality. Thought did not create the tree. You get it? Right. So, in the same way, thought invented the I. Thought did not create the brain body. You get it? Thought. So when the brain body is set totally free from the thinker, thought again has a place. There can be a misconception here that thought is the bad guy. Thought is not the bad guy. Thought made a mistake in our evolution thousands and thousands of years ago because it was seeking security and it didn't want to die. It wanted a sense of continuity, that there is a me separate from the brain body because it sees the brain body withers away and it dies. It doesn't like that idea. So it said, I like the idea of a me that is separate, a soul, a spirit, that will then continue. I feel better now. You see, it gives me a sense of comfort. See, in other words, we're operating always from fear. We live in fear. Everything the me does is fear-based. The me is fear. They're not separate. As long as there's a me, fear is inevitable in every thought, in every movement, in every action. Pretending, though, that there are moments of love, moments of peace, moments of happiness, moments of... See, what passes for happiness is actually pleasure. Pleasure is not happiness. It's not true happiness. So there's what passes for happiness, which is pleasure, meaning we're like on a roller coaster. Pleasure, pain. Pleasure, sorrow. Pain is a part of life. If you stop feeling pain, then you're like dead. So pain is not suffering, it's not sorrow. Sorrow is the interpretation of the me about the pain. But then there's continuity to the pain. Like somebody hurts you. At that moment of the hurt, there was pain. But then the brain gives it continuity. And now you're in sorrow. You're in misery. So see what the me is doing to you. You get it? It's about understanding. It's not about getting rid of anything, letting go, because there's nothing to let go of. It's about understanding what is the me, what is it doing, and is there a me, or it's just a bundle of memory, which is a dead thing. You get it? And in the very understanding, liberation.
Mr. Jacob, I want to thank you for calling back in. We really appreciate that. We did not know you were still watching us. Thank you for continuing to watch us. And thank you for this phone call back. This has actually ran us to the end of our show.
Let me tell you, I attend many meetups. I don't know if you know Meetup at all.
Okay.
It's another platform in which to do these kinds of Zoom events where everybody can come in, anybody can join. They don't have to call in. They can actually be part of. I guess you guys are on a Zoom. I don't know what you're on, but
StreamYard.
So anyway, I've attended hundreds and hundreds of those meetings with so-called spiritual people, and you guys are the most, like I could see the sincerity in all of you, that you're really trying to get to it. And that's why I had to call back. Anyway, I'll go now.
Oh my God, I love you. Thank you.
And I'll continue to listen to you guys.
Please do. Yeah. All right.
I think the universe sent Mr. Jacob and all the people that watched. You are here for a reason, because this was not something that we expected, and we all came with our scripts on how we were going to talk about the ego and what the ego was. But he just broke it down to us, and I would suggest to replay this and listen to this again, because I'm going to listen to it for some of the stuff that I missed. I got a lot of jewels. I got a lot of gold nuggets today, but I'm definitely going to have to listen to this again, because he gave us so much information and so much insight on the ego, or me, the me.
The me,
and
the me,
and I think if you listen to this again, I think some of us can have some kind of breakthrough, because I feel a slight breakthrough coming. I know Ivy, I can look at her like
Ivy had a whole breakthrough,
but I definitely felt some type of breakthrough when he broke it down in that manner. So I do appreciate that.
Oh my God. Okay.
So we living up to the statement, Miss Tanner.
And giving back which is lost.
Yahtzee.
Bingo, Bikino.
With that being said, oh my God, I want to thank everyone who jumped in on tonight's live, who left a comment, our caller who called in. Tonight was It was mind blowing for all of us, except John. He's over there like, yeah, I know these things.
I know, right? Head nodding the whole time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was head nodding the
yeah.
whole time, and King Newborn was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. We I guess we late
It's
to
a
the
nice
party,
refresher.
ladies.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
good refresher.
Yeah.
But yeah.
yeah.
So
We late
that's
to
the
the
show.
party. But anyway, just to give y'all a little snippet of next month is Mental Health Awareness Month, and that is one of our that's one of our things right there. And we're coming through the door talking about how to be there for someone who is suicidal. That is how we're going to kick the month off for May. So please tune in. I know you all know someone, or that person knows someone who has been in that situation or felt like that. Tune in. We got some really good advice to give on that. With that being said, do y'all have anything y'all want to add before John, you got me?
Yep. Salutes.
Salute.